Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the David Hittle Real Estate Show. I'm your host, as always, David Hittle, a realtor with United Real Estate Louisville. And this week, we are going to be talking about how to win as a buyer in today's housing market. And for all those out there looking to purchase a home here soon or looking to purchase a home this year, this episode will be for you because who does not want to win when it comes to buying a home, when it comes to life in general? Who does not want to win? And that is important. We're also going to talk about how the number of homes for sale are going up and how they are still below pre-pandemic levels, but they are going up, which is a good thing. And we're going to talk about we're going to talk about life in general. So, as always, we are dealing with the internet here in a rural area. Of course, as you probably know, I live in Shelbyville, Kentucky, and it is a rural area. Our internet service has not been fully established yet, and so our internet is spotty at best. So we are live right now on YouTube. We're sort of kind of live here on Facebook as well, and we will just determine which one is best, and we will stay live on that platform. Right now, it's looking like YouTube is the best one. So if you would, and if you are interested in real estate at all, please visit my website. That is Shopkentuckyhomes.com. And on that website, you can find out everything you need to know about purchasing your next home. You can also find out how much your home is worth in today's housing market, and you can connect with me and so much more. So please visit my website, shopkentuckyhomes.com today to find out more. So today is the big football day. Today at 5:30, a big football game will occur. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the name for copyright reasons and other sort of things, but a big football game will be played today. And so the theme, if you saw the thumbnail for this episode, is football themed, and it is how to win as a buyer in today's market. So let's talk about this. The first thing that everyone needs to do as a buyer in today's housing market is to build your team. So your team, when it comes to purchasing a home, include more than just your real estate agent. Your team includes your realtor. Your team includes a trusted lender. Your team, as a buyer, will include potentially a home inspector. Your team may include an appraiser. Your team will include a title company. And at the title company, you're talking about attorneys. You're talking about customer service representatives, title company representatives, client satisfaction people, those who run the title searches, those who do the title searches. So your team are the ones that ensure that you are on the right track and the right path to purchase, to buy the home that you have set your eyes on. Of course, the first individual, the first member of your team should be your spouse or significant other. But okay, the second member of your team should be a realtor, not a real estate agent, because there is a difference. You want to have a realtor on your team, someone who is professionally, ethically motivated to put your needs ahead of anyone else's. And that would be what a realtor is required to do. The second individual, which your realtor should be able to point you in the direction of, is a lender. The lender is the individual who is going to get your pre-approval written or your pre-qualification written. They are going to make sure that you can afford what you are looking for. They're going to make sure that you have everything you need financially to receive a home loan, a financed loan, whether that be an FHA loan or a VA loan or a USDA loan or a jumbo loan or a construction loan. The lender is going to be the one that will walk you through the financial portion of your real estate transaction. The next person after that, potentially, and it's always up to the buyer, but highly recommended, is a home inspector. And the home inspector's job, they work for the buyer, and the home inspector's job is to go and look at your potential new home to ensure that you are not getting something that is going to fall apart on you. They're going to inspect the entire home, make sure that it is structurally sound, make sure that it is up to code, make sure that your roof looks good, your foundation looks good, your plumbing, electrical. They're going to make sure everything in your home works according to the best standards. So I always say it is better to spend hundreds of dollars on a home inspector versus spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a home and finding out all of the problems later on. After the home inspector, we have an appraiser. Now, the appraiser does not normally work for the home buyer. They typically work for the lender, but the buyer has to pay for them in most cases. So the appraiser, who I guess in a sense sort of works for the buyer as well. The appraiser will visit the home, the potential home of the buyer, and ensure that the home is worth what the buyer is getting a loan for. So in a way, they work for the lender. They make sure that the lender is not providing or not giving more money to the buyer for the purchase of the home than the home is actually worth. And they work for the buyer to make sure that you are not overspending on a home that is not worth what you are trying to pay for it. And then, of course, finally is the title companies. The title companies, they run the title. They make sure that the deed is clear. They make sure that no one else has any sort of claim over your potential new home. They ensure that the process gets to closing, and they have attorneys and everything on their side that ensure that the whole process is done legally, and they file all the paperwork with the state and with the city to ensure that everything is done correctly. So these are the members of your team. They all, for the most part, work for you, but they should be your trusted professionals that are on your side, and they have the skills needed to move quickly and efficiently and to make sure everything is done correctly. So once you have a team, or at least the start of a team, you can build your team over time through the process of purchasing your home. The next step is to make strategic plays. So you need to have careful budgeting and planning for your down payment. Those are key. Those are key issues. You need to make sure that your potential new home mortgage or your potential new home payment is something that will fit into your current budget. And then you also need to have plans for making down payments. You can receive down payment assistance, which covers a portion of your down payment. You can get into USDA loans or rural housing loans that have 0% down payments. You can, if you're qualified eligible veteran, You can get into VA loans that have 0% down payments or funding fees that can be rolled into the mortgage itself. But for the most part, you're going to be looking at either an FHA loan, which has a 3.5% down payment requirement, or a conventional loan, which has a 5% down payment requirement. Either one of those is what you are most likely to get. So, carefully budgeting, and carefully planning a down payment is key when you are thinking about your wish list and prioritize what you need. So, budgeting, planning for down payment, and then thinking about your wish list and prioritizing what you need in your next home. Sorry about that. The next thing is you need to consider what's in and out of bounds. You need to figure out if you want to stay in the same area or if you want to branch out to new communities. And what you should do to help your team and to help your realtor, most of all, to determine where you would like to live is to make a list of neighborhoods you'd like to live in. For some of my clients, I have them give me certain zip codes that they would be okay living in, because Louisville is a broad area. That is a huge area. There's like 50 plus zip codes in Louisville. So having the zip codes that my clients want to live in or would like to live in helps me to better assist them in finding their next home. And another thing that will help you to win as a buyer in today's market is standing out from the crowd. So the one thing is getting pre-approved. So with your lender, you will provide them with some financial information and with some of your income and your debts and all that sort of stuff. And they will be able to provide you with a pre-approval or a pre-qualification letter. And this letter we can send to a seller that we're making an offer on their home to let them know that you are a serious and qualified buyer. Because if they see a pre-approval letter, they know that you are both serious about purchasing a home and that you are qualified to purchase their home. Another thing that will allow you to stand out from the crowd is leaning on your team's expert advice to draft your strongest offer. The lender that I work with primarily has a ton of programs that can make your offer or the offer you make on your next home stronger than anyone else's. So having your team set up, your team ready to go, is the best idea and will help you to win as a buyer in today's housing market. So bottom line here is that in today's housing market, you can still be a champion if you have the right team and the right strategy. And if you are someone who is looking to buy or sell a home this year, we should connect to make sure that you have a game-winning strategy. And that is important above all else. So, again, there is the possibility of winning as a buyer in today's housing market. Today's housing market is starting to cool down. It is starting to settle out. We are starting to see our housing market shift back to the pre-pandemic levels. And what I mean by that is that during the pandemic, we saw housing prices soar. We saw inventory fall. We didn't have a lot of inventory. We saw buyer demand skyrocket because people were moving from major cities to smaller cities, to smaller states, or to more tax settling states. But today we're starting to see the settle out. What I will tell you, at least from my own experience so far this year, is that there are a ton of buyers out there looking for a home. A colleague and I listed a home in Lexington Thursday morning. We listed it about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. By Thursday night, that home had been shown to over 20 potential buyers, and me and my colleague had received 7 offers on that home. Now, this is not typical. This is not normal. But when you have a home that is in an amazing area, it's in a great area, a very desirable area, when it is priced correctly, and when it seems to be a lone wolf in the neighborhood, there was nothing else selling in that neighborhood, you can expect to see, or you should expect to see, a lot of traffic and a lot of interest. And that is exactly what happened with our client's home. But the good news for home buyers is that the number of homes for sale are up from last year. However, the bad news is that they are still below, the number of homes is still below pre-pandemic levels. So when we take a look at Louisville, and I'm taking a look at the market summary for Louisville for January. In January, we had 1,107 active listings on the market in January. I'm sure that's probably the end of January. We had 1,107. This is compared to 2022, where we only had 1,014. So active listings in Louisville, in the Louisville market, are up 9.2%. So the number of homes for sale in Louisville, January 2023 to January 2022, is up about 9%. However, the number of sales, the number of sold listings is down almost 28%. The number of homes that are pending sale was down almost 31%. And the number of new listings was only up 0.3%. So we'll compare this sort of data to Lexington, another area in which I service, another area in which I work quite often now that I live in Shelbyville. In Lexington, we see something almost completely different. The number of active listings is up 63% January 2023 to January 2022. The number of new listings is down 24%. The number of sold listings is down 37%. And the number of pending listings is down almost 18%. So some similarities, except for the number of homes that are actively for sale. The number of homes actively for sale in Lexington is up over 63%, which is good news. It means that buyers have more to see in Lexington than they did in Louisville. But that doesn't mean that we can't find you what you are looking for. So the number of homes for sale is up from last year, but it is still below pre-pandemic years. And the biggest challenge in the housing market right now, and likely for years and years to come, is how few homes there are for sale compared to the number of people who want to buy. That's why if you're thinking about selling your house, this is a great time to do so. Let me tell you, it is a great time to do so. Your house would be welcome in a market that has fewer homes for sale than it did in the years leading up to the pandemic. According to the latest monthly housing market trends report from Realtor.com, quote, there were 65 and a half more homes for sale in January compared to the same time in 2022. This is nationwide. This means that there were 248,000 more homes available to buy this past month compared to 1 year ago. While the number of homes for sale is increasing, it is still 43.2% lower than it was before the pandemic in 2017 to 2019. And this means that there are still fewer homes available to buy on a typical day than there were a few years ago. So looking back on the last 6 Januaries, January of 2018, there were about 1 million homes for sale, just over 1 million homes for sale. By 2019, that number was 1.1 million, so we gained 100,000 homes for sale nationwide. But by 2020, it had fallen down to 953,000 in January. 2021, 532,000 in January. 2022, 378,000 homes. But now 2023, we're seeing 626,000. So we're starting to trend in the right direction, starting to get more homes on the market, which is good for home sellers. As long as there's not too many homes on the market, home sellers are still going to get top dollar, but it's better for home buyers because they have more homes to choose from. But what does this mean for you? Fewer homes for sale means that buyers have fewer choices than they did prior to the pandemic. That is true. The more homes there are for sale, the more options buyers have. The fewer homes for sale, the less options buyers have, and the better off home sellers are. The frustration that is leading some home buyers to give up on the home buying process altogether has been affected by mortgage rates that are starting to sit lower than they were at the peak last fall. More buyers are starting to come back into the process, but they just need homes to buy. And this is welcome activity for the spring market, especially if you are thinking of selling your house. So with renewed interest in buying a home for many, the New York Times reported that, quote, home buyers are edging back into the market after being sidelined last year. So if you want to take advantage of a sweet spot in the market, this spring could be your shot. The bottom line here in all this is that the housing market needs a lot more homes for sale to meet the demand of today's buyers. So if you've been thinking about selling, now's the time for us to connect and get ready for you to make a move this spring. And that's exactly what is happening out there. I'm starting to see it, starting to feel the buyers coming back, starting to feel the sellers starting to get their legs. They're starting to be like, yeah, maybe I should sell my home now. Maybe I should get ready to go. Maybe I should find something that I would like to move into and then get my home on the market and get ready to go. So working with a realtor is great. My client, who I talked about in Lexington, we understood that she wanted to sell her home. And of course, she needs to sell her home so she can afford to purchase the next home. And because she was already looking at interest in what she was wanting to purchase, we found her the home that she wanted to purchase before we even put her home on the market. So we had made an offer on the home that she wanted contingent upon the sale of her home. Well, now her home is pending. So her purchase can start to move forward as well. This all works out. We as realtors will make sure that we do what is in the best interest of our clients. and we will make sure that you are well taken care of. But we need you to reach out, or we need to know that you are actually in the market. So please visit my website, shopkentuckyhomes.com today if you are interested in real estate, either buying or selling, and let's get connected so that we can find out the best steps for you. I'm never going to push my client into something that is not right for them. If it is something that you are wanting to do, something that you're thinking about doing, we will go through all the options just to make sure that it is exactly what you want to do and what you need to do. So everyone, I thank you for tuning in. Everyone go watch the big game. I think it's at 5:30 this afternoon. Go watch the big game, big football game. But until next time, I want to thank every single one of you for listening, for tuning in. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Take care. And I'm here if you need me. Have a great day.